Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to another day on Davinci Fusion tutorial. So today I'm going to be talking about text, and I've had the kind of bit of a play around and different features of text and how to make things pop and look cool. So that's what I kind of want to work with today. I just want to kind of run through a few of the things that I've learned, some really cool things that maybe you can use for yourself that would make your text a lot more interesting. I've got this clip here that I used before in the previous kind of videos, and I'm just going to have that as a backdrop as well, but I don't think it's going to really play much of a role. So if we jump into the Fusion tab, and as per usual here we have our media in and media out. A few things I have learned today though is if you want to disable a clip, you can press Command P and it disables that clip. Obviously this comes in a lot more useful if you have a lot more features inside. And I also learned if you hold Command and Shift and click anywhere, you can literally move it around and drag it. And the same thing as if you hold Command and then roll, it kind of zooms in and out. So this is really useful if you have a lot going on. Obviously right now I just have two things going on, so you can see everything in that space anyway, but it is pretty useful if you have a lot going on. So obviously the text bar is up here in the top, and we're going to drag that on. And as per usual, if we drag this little square that's going out here onto our clip, it will create a merge node that then is going to have something over the top. And if we type something in this bar now like, hello, I am about to go flying, should show up just on the screen like that. So that's pretty straightforward. And then obviously we have our text, our fonts all here. Okay, let's just choose some cheesy kind of font, liquid. That is terrible. So what we're going to do first, I kind of want to just show you this layout section here. Actually, before we get into that, let's just jump back into the text. Let's move the anchor point around and we can look at the flexibility and where you can start the animations from and how you can bend things in that sense. So right here with the anchor point, and if you click on just one of these arrows, it moves to the side, but you can't drag it up and down. So if you just click on the side arrow, it just moves that. If you click on the up and down arrow, kind of just moves that, and you can't go left and right. But if you click on the little square in the middle, you can basically drag it anywhere you want. So this is really helpful. But if you want to move that thing around, here it says V anchor. If you move that, obviously it's moving it up and down, and then H anchor is moving it to the side. So say I want my anchor to be there right on the end, so then I can pivot everything from that anchor point, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So if I go into layout and I start moving the X and the Y, you can see it's going to pivot from that section. So if I go like this, you can see it's pivoting from the anchor, if that makes sense. Yeah. So it's kind of creating almost a 3D kind of effect from the anchor. And this one is moving up and down from the anchor. So knowing where to put the anchor is really helpful, because obviously you might want to pivot it from certain sections and certain places. I'm just going to move that all back to 0. Now another really interesting thing here is the type. Right now it's just left at point, which is a kind of standard going from one point and continuing basically. But if we go on to circle, it will pivot around the point that we set it to. And you can see if I move the Z axis, you can see it starts moving around. And you can adjust the size of this. So you can go really small and big. You can adjust the width of the circle. So this is a really cool little animation. And obviously all of these can be, toggled. So if you have, say, you want to start from the width there and then move it down and then adjust that to go a bit wider, you can start animating the text around whatever you want to move around. So it's just super basic, but nevertheless, it's actually quite essential. Another really interesting thing about this type is to do path. So with this section, you get a little point tool come up here, the arrow. And what you can start doing is actually drawing the path of the letters you want to move around. So if I go like this, oh, that might be a bit weird. You get this kind of like a little train kind of effect, which could be useful if you're going to do something like a little train video. And basically, as you can see now, it's kind of gone on a little path. And if I move the path to position, it will actually move the writing. So if I take this to the beginning, put a little key point there, and then move it down, and then put a little, I'm going to drag that all the way around there, because that's right at the end of the clip. So now as I play the clip, you can see the writing moving across the screen. And as you can see though, right now the text is actually moving through the, through the lines, running through the middle, which is quite strange. You can kind of move that around by changing the V anchor again. So right now it's on top. And this might seem a bit more natural. What I want to do now is just add a few more effects to it. If I press shift and then spacebar, I'm going to use a glow effect. So I'm going to drag that in, press add. Oops, I've added 2. And then if I hold shift, it's going to drop that in there. And then look at that, we've got a little glow effect. And one last thing I'm going to do is add a kind of like typing effect onto this. I know obviously it's not going to have sound on it, but I can show you how to animate that so that it kind of goes across the screen as we're flying. So I'm going to start from the beginning here. And if down here you have the, and see down here you have the right on. If I click, if I move this backwards and then toggle the animation and then move it maybe about halfway in and then move it out, and obviously it's going to remember the animation there, so you can see it's red, which means it's put a key point there. Press play, and as you can see it kind of looks like it's typing. I actually do think that needs to go a bit faster, so if I move to the next key point there, I'm going to delete that and move it all the way back and then put it there instead. Might be a bit too fast now, but there you go. You can see it's actually, it seems like it's typing out. This is actually great because I remember trying to do this kind of typing effect in Premiere Pro, and it kind of, you can move the opacity over it, but then you can actually see the letter being created, if that makes sense, as the writing's going on. Whereas this way, it kind of, the whole letter comes on. It kind of like, as it says right on, it specifically looks like it's created for that kind of effect. So that's really a great tool to have at your disposal right there. All right, guys. So that's a super simple tutorial. I'm going to try and do keyframes either tomorrow or the day after and learn a bit more about how to keyframe stuff and get a bit more in depth with the animation. So thanks a lot. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.